are here, aka Peer Freakout 10, bringing you guys another episode of the Movie Review Show, where the good movies are always reviewed. Okay, back again to our movie review. Now, on today's episode, today's film is one that I never thought I would dip my foot into, because this is the film with a particular actor that, I'm just going to say this right now, growing up, I was never into these types of action films, because even though I love stuff like this film growing up, RoboCop, I thought was awesome, which I'll talk about later, or stuff like Die Hard or Bad Boys. I was never into the muscle-bound, like, kind of guy with the voice and whatnot. And that went for, like, such actors like Jean Claude Van Dame, Dolph Lundgren, or Chuck Norris. I always thought stuff like that was the dumbest thing ever growing up. But hey, we always thought that there were some things that everybody loved, but you were like, what the heck, growing up. However, growing up, my taste changed. Once I hit middle school, I started to become even more into these particular actors. I started watching more Stallone, even Arnold. However, I never felt to dip my foot into this particular actor, because even, like, watching, like, with this particular actor and reading, like, how much of an action star he is and whatnot, I was a little worried about that, because the reason why I think, like, I was so, like, looking at these type of films is because of how cheesy they were, to me at least at the time, and I was, like, so picky about them, like, oh my god, this is the dumbest thing ever, why does everybody love that? However, growing up, now I don't see that anymore. Somehow, someway, I don't see it. But moving on, what made me want to start watching this actor, because this is the first film that I ever watched with this particular actor. Just recently, and I'm going to start watching more of this particular actor's films. I don't want to say who it is, because I want it to be a surprise, even though you guys read the title, but yeah. But yeah, what made me want to start watching this particular actor's films was because my friend Kyle, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan, was actually reviewing a couple of his films, and just the descriptions behind them, like how he was reviewing them, made me interested to just check this guy out. However, I didn't want to review the films that he already talked about, because I decided to save them for another time. And another reason is because I like to start from the beginning with directors or actors, like how I did with Kevin Smith when I reviewed Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, or Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I like to start with the New Jersey trilogy and go in order with the films that this guy's directed. And I decided to do the same thing with this guy. And this is a particular action star that hit his peak in the 80s, the late 80s. However, before that, he was doing stunt work. And when he hit his peak in the late 80s, a rivalry was started between him and Dolph Lundgren. And it all started with this one particular film. And that film is none other than Above the Law. Alright. Now, Above the Law was a film made back in 1988, as I said, and this is directed by a guy named Andrew Davis, who also produced the film. Now, Andrew Davis, if you guys have been following this particular actor, this is a guy who would later go on to direct another film with this particular actor, Under Siege. And Under Siege is the film that really got this particular actor to the big leagues. I don't want to say his name yet, because I like to save it for the main event, like the casting and whatnot, but yeah, he would also go on to direct The Fugitive with Harrison Ford, Collateral Damage with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I haven't seen. I actually want to see that. But what's funny is that after he did action films, he would later go on to direct Holes with Shia LaBeouf, which I actually want to see, but I did not know that Andrew Davis would do that, because it's weird seeing him go from this to Holes. But still, still excited to check that film out. But when this film came out, nobody knew how big of a hit this film would be. It was so under the radar that nobody knew about it. Nobody thought it was going to be a big hit. Even the director, I think, was like, I'm just going to put it out there. It might not be as big of a hit because we have a budget of $700,500,000. Might not do too well. However, when the film opened up, it was a box office beast. Because with that budget, it made, let me get it up, I'm not good with numbers, 18 million back, so the film was a big hit at the box office. And it definitely cemented this particular actor as an action star, got good reception on Rotten Tomatoes. And a lot of people who are fans of this particular actor looked at it as a great film debut. So with all that being said, and the fact that I saw this for the first time, what do I have to say about it? I thought this was a fantastic film. I think this is a fantastic film. And I'm not just saying that because people, they all think this film is fantastic. I literally think it's fantastic in my opinion. But I won't say it's this particular actor, I should say. I almost said the name. However, you guys know the movie, the actor's name, so I should say. But I wouldn't say it's this particular actor's best film. But in terms of a film debut, I thought it was a fantastic film debut. So yeah, definitely love this film. And I have to be honest here, I feel this is one of the best film debuts ever. This is how you do a film debut. This is literally how you do a film debut, no questions asked. But, yeah, really love this film. I'll get into why later, but anyway. The film stars Steven Seagal, if you guys can't read. And as I said, this was his film debut. And it was the film that really put him in the big leagues. And this is back when he had muscle. However, after he lost that muscle and started getting fatter, his career went down the toilet. All thanks to him and Mickey D's. Might as well put him in a Ronald McDonald suit. That'll be the greatest movie ever. Imagine a movie with Steven Seagal. He has to fight in a McDonald's, in a Ronald McDonald suit. Yeah. But yeah. Get into him later. You also have Pam Grier in this film, who was in Foxy Brown. She was in Jackie Brown, Escape from L.A., among many others. You have Sharon Stone in this film in a young role. She was in Ants. She was also in Total Recall. This is one of her earlier films for those two. You have Daniel Furladio, Henry Silva. Those two actors I don't know anything about. Just check the cast. Ron Dean's here too, so a great cast of this film. Definitely a great cast. But as I said, I highly enjoyed this film. Definitely thought it was a great film. And I'll get into why later. But anyway, the basic plot of the film is basically this. We meet this guy named Nico Toscani, played by Steven Seagal, who pretty much was born in, I forget, Palmero, that's what it is, Palmero. And basically, he came to, America, I should say, or Chicago, to study Aikido. And one day, as he's teaching Aikido in a class, the people from the CIA see him, and they think it's best to send him into Vietnam to do a job. And he immediately quits after he sees, one of the troops in his group terrorizing a prisoner. And pretty much the film jumps to years later, and we see him in Chicago. He has a wife played by Sharon Stone, a new partner played by Pam Grier. He's in the police, and we see him baptizing his baby. And basically now he's in this drug bust with his partner. And basically, they manage to get this guy arrested. However, he bribes his way. Well, I should say he bribes. He talks his way out of like the department because we find out that he actually has connections with criminal. The cops, I should say, have connections with this criminal, and now he's out and about. And Nico, I should say, is like, we gotta get this guy back in. You can't just let him go because this and that. And they're like, you are not to go near him. And so he disobeys and now is basically out to figure out what he's up to. And then we basically learn that he's working for this guy named, forget the guy's name, but he's played by Henry Silva. Of Kurt, and he has this plan to eliminate the senator. And basically Nico decides to basically step up his game and really put an end to this guy after he basically blows up the church that he was at. And it becomes even harder because now he's kicked off the department and now has to figure out a way to get to this guy without the police getting there first. Will Nico be able to use all his Aikido to put a stop to this guy's wrath of destruction? Or will he be turning in more than just a badge, but his life? But yeah, Above the Law, I think, is a great film, and I slap myself in the face for not knowing about this film at a young age. This film is awesome. I think it says it on the back here, too. The action sequences will knock you out of your seat. They did. They really did. And what I like about the film is that, for starters, Andrew Davis, for this being a too theatrical film, I think Andrew Davis used all he can with the minimal budget and really brought the film to the screen fantastically. He really knows how to direct, even with the small budget. He uses it wisely. And it's a really big step above, like, the Roger Corman stuff, like I know a lot of people say the Terminator, but those low budget films, I know they had such low budget, but this is next level filmmaking. He does a great job shooting the film, like the scene in Vietnam. I love that shot where he's over, like, the jungle and you actually see it. It's a really good shot. So Andrew Davis, I thought, did a good job. The score I like. The production design is phenomenal. It's just overall a really well-made film. It's superb. And it's just really well-made. I think this shows that Andrew Davis can direct. And I feel that the story itself also accompanies that. And I think that it has a really unique idea to it. Because while it is an action film, and from what I've seen of Steven Seagal's later films, which are all action, this one is a little bit different. For a first film, this one is a little bit different because it kind of is a commentary on, like, how criminals find their way out of situations and how, like, the police can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Can hide more than just one thing under their belt. And I really liked how the film, like, goes through that. It really like the scenes with Seagal basically trying to bring this guy into justice, because I think any cop would act like that if they found out, like, we let this guy go even though he's killed all these people, like, why are we letting him go? And I love that about the film. Even when you have evidence to back up that, it's still not enough, because this guy's still out and about doing all this. But yeah, definitely love that about this film. Definitely love the commentary behind it. I will admit, some of it does slow the film down, which is one of the big complaints I have with the film. At times, the film does feel slow a bit. And at times, like, some of the characters that you do get introduced to aren't fully developed enough. Because when they do come back into play in the film, you're kind of like, who is that? Because they kind of have, like, one scene, some of the characters. Like, besides Sharon Stone or Pam Grier or Steven Seagal himself, like, characters like Daniel something, the detective in the film, yeah, Detective Lukovich, Ron Dean's character, is like in one scene and then he comes back and he's like the main. Well, I should say he has a couple scenes, but his character isn't as defined as I think it could have been. Could have been studied more. But overall, I think that the commentary for the film works. It's definitely delivered really well. And it's interesting to see it in this film. And I love, like, how Seagal, like, delivers on it, how he's narrating about it, like, at the beginning of the film, his life, and even, like, towards the end, like, when he gives that speech about cops and, like, what's going on and whatnot. I think he did it really well with this film. So, yeah. But moving on, the acting in this film is also solid. Steven Seagal, for a first-time acting debut, even though he did some stunt work, I thought he did a really good job. And seeing this now, I want to cry. I literally want to cry because it sucks seeing Steven Seagal today and looking at this and being like, what happened to that guy? Literally, what the hell happened to that guy? Because the Steven Seagal back then would look at this Steven Seagal and punch him right in the nose and be like, this isn't what I should have been. This is me. This is the Steven Seagal. Where is that Steven Seagal? Oh, wait, he's doing a movie where he's in a Ronald McDonald suit, he's eating Mickey D's, and he's fighting to get his McDonald's back. I would see that. I would pay to see that, honestly. Would you guys pay to see that? Because I would, because it'll make a bigger fool of Seagal than he already is. But, yeah. This is Steven Seagal, not the new guy. Yeah. Not the guy that would use stock footage in films like Ticker or any other film. Or this is Steven Seagal, all the way. And here I thought he did a fantastic job. I know one person brought up the accent, which I actually kind of like the accent. I do agree with them on the accent. I think it works with his character. I know it's supposed to be Palermo, but I thought he did it really well. I think it adds a feel to the character and actually is something different to the character. And acting-wise, Steven Seagal himself, I think, did a good job. How he narrates the story, I think he did it really well. His narration adds a feel to the film. I think it adds a really well done kind of noir feel to it that I think really works with the film. And in terms of acting, I thought Steven Seagal's character, was a really well-defined character. I like the opening with him in, the army where you see him, fighting for, the prisoner, which I think anybody in the place would be laughing because they were torturing a prisoner, but the fact that he stands up and is like, I'm not going to do this if you're going to torture the prisoner, and leaves. He's a really nice guy, and he really delivers it well. I think Steven Seagal really pushed the envelope there, and really brought this certain likability to the character that I think works. In fact, even when he does need to get into the action mode, he does it really well. He does his own stunts. The few scenes of him running, I know one person said some people complained about how he runs. He looked fine to me. It's not like he was it's not like they were on Baywatch. It's not like they were on that, but yeah. Still, I thought he did it really well in this film. I like the quote with him where he's going to get his granddaughter back from this drug guy, and he's he grabs the guy's head and pushes him into the drugs, and he's like, you want some more drugs? You want some more drugs? Starts beating on this guy, kicks him out and whatnot. And even, the one part where, these guys shooting in the street, and he, throws these guys out, and, well, this is after that, but he, throws these, after he gets done with a fight in a convenience store, he goes outside and he sees these guys, he's like, drop the magazine, mother effer! And one guy, like, calls him fat, and he shoots that guy. I was like, that was hilarious. They all stopped, but this one guy, like, walks in and is like, why'd you do it? You, like, says something to him, but he calls him fat. He shoots him in the stomach. Steven Seagal in this film is awesome. I mean, what he does have to do is fight scenes. It doesn't look like a stunt double. And he does it really well in this film. So, overall, Steven Seagal did a great job. His partner, played by Pam Grier, I also liked. Even though I had this complaint, like, some of the characters weren't utilized that as much as they could have been, I still thought she did a good job. She was utilized the most, seeing as how she's in the film the most. But here I thought she did a good job. She was likable, she's caring, she's a no-nonsense cop, and I like the spunky kind of attitude she gave, which I think anybody knowing Pam Grier, that's what she's known for, spunky attitude. But I thought she did a good job here. I do like the scene with her, like, what was that scene? Yeah, I know the quote. I forgot the quote, but basically in the part where this black guy's like hitting on her, and he's like, you got 5 seconds and 3 are already up. And the guy's like, you know, cops need men too. So that was hilarious. That was literally hilarious. So Pam Grier, I think, was having so much fun with the character. I think she did it well in the film. Sharon Stone, she's not in it too much. She's just there to be the one who's like, I support you. Even what happens, I'll always be there for you. Kind of being there for the baby and whatnot. She was okay. I just wish there was more to her character and whatnot. But Henry Silva, I thought, did a good job as the villain. I do think that his motivation could have been better. What's the word I'm looking for? While it was utilized, like, it could have been written a little bit better, because there are times where I just felt like, yeah, he wants the document. He wants to get revenge on the guy who did do the documents, but he wants to kill the senator now, because maybe I wasn't paying attention, but at times it just kind of flew over my head. It wasn't easily as explained as it could have been. But overall, I thought he did a good job. He's not like an intimidating kind of bad guy. He's more like the one who's like, I want this done now. But still, overall, I thought he did a good job. I just felt he could have been utilized better. He could have been written a little bit more better. And he could have been more intimidating. That's the way to put it. I do like the other guy who he's with. The partner of his sounds like Joe Pesci. I forget the guy's name, but he was fine. Daniel Farladio, I thought he did a good job. Definitely had some funny parts. I like the part where Seagal's on top of the car and he grabs his neck and he's like, pull the car over. Pull it over. But still, he was funny in the film. Definitely a lot. But the other cast does well too. Definitely the cast does well in this film. And when it comes down to it, the action scenes of this film are awesome. The fight scenes are there. When Seagal does get attacking, he attacks really well. The film it's not incredibly bloody like some of his later films, but it does have a scene where a guy gets his arm chopped off and a very good practical effect. Some good Aikido in some scenes. The fight scenes are all really well choreographed. No CGI, which I miss. You see him doing his own stunts, and it's done really well. Definitely done really well, this film. And I agree with the action sequences will knock you out of your seat, because they did with me. Definitely some great action scenes, some great shootout, great gunplay that I think really makes the film a winner. But it does have its problems, the film. As I said, I really felt the villain, I should say, the building, I almost said. The building could have been, the building's the villain. Like, the villain himself could have been better utilized. Some of the characters could have been better written. And at times, the social commentary kind of slows the film down a bit. But still, overall, Above the Law is above the average that I think I would give any bad action films because it is awesome. It's written well, it's action-packed, it's fun to watch. It's just overall a fantastic film debut for Steven Seagal. So, if you have never seen a Seagal film, I highly recommend you start here. While not my favorite film of his, it's definitely for me in the top 10 so far. And I definitely recommend you check this film out. So, overall, I give Above the Law an 8.5 out of 10, and it deserves it. Are you looking for a great action film? Definitely check out Above the Law. It is a great time. But that's my review for Above the Law, and a couple years later, Steven Seagal will come back for another film from the same company, because Warner Brothers he made a deal with to do some films with them. And afterwards, he would give us Hard to Kill. Gonna talk about this film another time. Definitely excited to. But tell you guys what I think of that when I see it. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Above the Law. And be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And next time I have a review of Pirates of the Caribbean coming. And then I'm gonna do a review of this awesome movie, RoboCop, and then Bad Boys 2, and take it from there. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Again, be sure to like this video, rate, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you guys think of Above the Law in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.